Okay, I ran into a bit of a bind in my mix yesterday, and I want to show you how I solved it. This is one of those times I kind of already talked about how trigger and sample layering in general often requires special circumstances because it's a very special thing and it's not perfect. Okay, so what happened was at a breakdown where the snare is kind of doing it instead of going, boom, boom, pop, boom, pop. It was kind of going tick, 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 tick. And these little ticky ticky tickies are something that samples are notoriously bad at dealing with. And I don't want to be too quick to blame Trigger or any of the tools. I'm blaming me, but either way, I didn't get what I wanted with my skill and knowledge of that tool. So let's take a listen to what I had. Okay, so I immediately said, well, it ain't gonna work. And I thought, well, maybe I should go in there and edit all that junk. And I looked at all those little guys and trying to get them to just the right big enough velocity to get the trigger the threshold thing and go through the gate dealy and trigger, but still sound natural. First thing I said was, yeah, maybe there's a better way. So I just ditched it. And then I started playing around. Okay, so let's see what it sounds like with trigger totally out of there. Well, wait a minute, that isn't terrible. It kind of halfway sounds like what we wanted to begin with. When I first realized that trigger maybe wasn't the thing for me in this case, I soloed my overheads, which are heavily high-passed, by the way, in this particular mix, but I don't always do that. But let's just hear what they're contributing. Okay, a little bit ambient, but that was part of my scheme. But anyway, I was like, well, I do want a little bit more something. I want something 3D on the snare, and I want it to, I don't know, feel realistic or something. It was just a little bit lifeless with just trigger gone. And I kind of thought about it, and I have the real snare top in there. But that snare top, the one I record, like most snare tops, doesn't really excite me musically a whole lot. But let's hear what it's doing soloed. Yeah, good luck getting your sample replacement to sound like that in terms of performance and feel. And maybe it can be done, but I don't have a month for that. Okay, and so I started looking around, and then we got this little another part of that snare top that I was monkeying with. And that's in there a little bit, and that's okay too. That's probably helping. I forgot I even had that in there. So I did use more of the snare top for sure with, pretty EQ, various, nothing too crazy there, I guess, just using a little thing. But what I really wanted was that 3D space to it. And I don't know how else to describe 3D space other than kind of roomish and kind of not. And then I realized that, well, I have 6 mics already set up pretty damn well for that. And those are the tom mics. And we don't have any major crash cymbal things that are going to get real nasty. These toms have been recorded in a way where they don't have a lot of nastiness anyway because the drummer hits so well and the drum sounds so good. So I thought to myself, well, why don't we just turn these toms up and watch this stuff here. I'm mumbling. I don't know why. Anyway, okay, without toms, up. I mean, they're in there. They're just down. All right, I'm going to start blending them things in there. Uh-oh. I know there's a lot of bull crap going on in this song. I guess, we'll leave it in there. We need to know about context. This is important. We have to be able to fight through all those sirens and the stupidity and all that. So I'm going to turn them up way too loud. Let's just see what they do 6 decibels up. You know what that is right there? That's 3D, boys. That's what I was looking for. Call it whatever you want. Let me solo those toms real quick. And I even like the tom resonance, or I mean the kick resonance. I want that boom, boom. That adds to whatever we're doing. Now, it's too loud, and I know that not because, just by listening, because I thought it kind of sounded cool, but I knew that because it took away from whatever was important. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a big mess of a part. The snare didn't need that much help level-wise. It already cut through when the toms were way down here. So I ended up thinking probably about right there. Let's just see what that does in context and see what we think of our snare. Let's see if it's lifeless and dull, and let's see if there's anything wrong with it we need to deal with. And yes, that is a World War II siren, air raid, Civil Air Patrol, whatever it is, which makes no sense in this hillbilly song, but we'll see if that gets vetoed. Anyway, I'm 100% happy with that. And so what happened was here is by looking at my very special situation, I was able to look around at what tracks I had and said, well, what would give me what I need? And I was like, well, duh, toms are right there. They're awesome at giving that space. You know, the mics on the bottom of the toms are definitely going to be getting the bottom of the snare sometimes. Maybe not in perfect on axis and all that kind of stuff, but they're in there, and sometimes even in a crappy kind of state, they can add something really cool. And in this case, they saved me. I didn't have to go through 18 years of editing trigger just so it doesn't sound like a robot, which it is a robot, so that already seems like a waste of my time. Anyway, so look around, and if you run into a bind, and see what other tracks can help you out. And this is really helpful with drum mixing. This kind of stuff happens all the time. Maybe you can get your epic resonance for the kick through toms, or something like that, something just unexpected. A room mic via compressing a hi-hat. It happens. All right, guys, over and out.